Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy you were able to join me. Welcome to Tea Time with Melissa Freeman. And today our theme is the art of romance. So before we dive in, I want everyone to just go around. Actually, I will just say your name, and then you can say from 1 to 5, say your name, and then from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. How important is romance? Okay? So you're gonna say your name and then 1 to 5. I'm just gonna go to order of my screen, okay? We'll have Sandra go first.
Okay. Romance, I would say 5. I give it a 5. It's the highest for me. You want me to say anything, elaborate on that? Or just
No. That was good. Thank you, Sandra.
Okay.
And then we have Felicia.
A 5. It's a must.
It's a must. Nice. And then Manu.
I'll say 3.75.
What is that?
I don't know. I'll say I'll say 4.
Okay, 4. Okay. And Janelle.
Okay, so I guess it's the way you define romance. For me, in a traditional sense, I would say it'll be 4. But in the way I see romance, I would say 5. And I'll explain that more later.
Okay, nice. Thank you everyone for sharing. So 1 to 5, romance being, if I had to compare it to other important things, I think I would give it a 4. I don't know if I'd give it a 5, only because there's so many other things that's more important than romance.
Yeah.
Even if you're dating, if you're in marriage, like I'm not saying romance is not important, but there's so many other things that I'm like, it trumps that. And what allows romance to blossom is those other topics like communication, like what we talked about last week. So, of course, y'all know I have to like quickly just introduce something really quick before we go into our topic. Destined to Win.
Got that book?
Yes, the book is out. You have to go get the book. And I'm going to make sure that I leave the information in the description box. Destined to Win. I have a chapter in here. It says a healthy journey from dating to marriage. And I give you so much instruction that I think is vital and that many people don't talk about. And I think it's important for us to gain knowledge about those things so we're not tripping over or making mistakes when we're dating or when we're married. So I will make sure to put the information in the description box. You would just simply go to Cheryl Publishing, and then you would click on the book, Destined to Win, and then you find my name, the author, Melissa Freeman. All right, so I'm just putting that out there, y'all.
Okay. That's it.
I got the book. Get the book.
Yeah, I get the book. And then we have another book coming out. We'll talk more about that later. All right, so let's dive right in. So romance, when you look up the word romance, it simply means a feeling of excitement associated with love. And so when I really thought about that, because, you know, sometimes when we get together, they talk about romance and they really don't think about the definition that maybe a dictionary gives. And when it said this, I really thought about romance can look different for different people because everyone's different and unique. So what I may think romance is, you may be like, oh no, that would not work for me, right? So when I thought of romance, I thought of like how the way it's describing an excitement associated with love, it's really saying like romance pulls on your senses, right? So if there's excitement and it's associated with love, there has to be some pull on your senses that's making you get excited or feel like you're being romanced. So I just thought about all of the senses we have. We have sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, right? And all of these senses, when they are activated or when you feel something or see something, it brings information to your brain that tells you you're being romanced. And so I can't say what's romance for you all, and I can only say what's romance for me, because I know what my senses, what makes me feel like, oh, I'm being romanced today. So I want to give like an example. So I love going to the beach. And if you go to the beach, right, it's just obvious why many people go. You can hear the waves and it just calms you down, right? And then also like what you see, you can see the waves and it calms you down. So I'm just pulling on senses. And when you're there, even the sun, just like the warmth of the sun, what you're feeling, all those things calm you and soothe you. You putting your feet in the sand. Those things are therapeutic and they calm and they soothe you, but it's also pulling on senses that make you feel calm. So in romance, it's the same thing. What may work for one may not work for another. Someone may say, listen, I like to get chocolate. That's what makes me feel like, ooh, when I taste it, ooh, I felt so loved. It tastes good, and I know it came from my honey. He was thinking about me. And for someone else, they're like, I like to see things like a rose. Like, that's a beautiful red or yellow rose, and that activates romance for them. So everyone's different. And so I want to quickly just throw that out there. And I want us to do an activity, actually not really an activity, but like more like a discussion. And in this discussion, I'm going to share my screen. In this discussion, basically, so it's a visual activity, the art of romance. And let's see, I'm going to try to make it big so you can see it. All right, so there are 4 pictures. And what I want us to do is look at all 4 pictures and then decide what looks more romantic to you and why. So what looks more romantic to you and why? That's what we're going to answer. So let me just make sure everyone gets a good look at scene 1 and scene 2. And kind of give me a thumbs up when ready to go to the next scene. And this is scene 3 and scene 4. Can everyone see the scenes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to go back again because I want us to get a good picture now. Think in your head, where would I want to be right now if I wanted to be romanced and why? So this is scene 1 and 2. And scene 3 and 4. All right, you guys can give me a thumbs up when you feel like you have your answer. Lovely. Did you put a thumbs up? I'm sorry, I had to like go down. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing so we can have a conversation. Actually, let's leave it up. So who would like to share first? What scene to you is like, you know what, that's where I want to be right now, like hands down?
Number 4, hands down.
Number 4, hands down. I like that. Why, Sandra? Why number 4?
Just look at it. It's on the beach, the sand, the light, the blue water, that table. Oh, just looks inviting.
And if you were there right now, Sandra, what do you think you would be smelling, hearing, feeling?
I'd hear the waves in the water, although they might not be crashing, but they would still be nice. The water and the sand really does something to me. I was going to pick number 2 because that had water too, but this has water and it has the beach sand. Yeah, I see green in number 2. So I think number 2 is beautiful too because of the water. Both of them have the water, which is a big one, but I don't see sand.
Looks like there might be a little sand, but not like the scene you picked.
Yeah, the other one looks tropical. I love the lighting on number 2, but this one looks tropical, and I just love the tropics.
So if you were there, you definitely feel romanced, right?
Yeah, if someone brought me there and brought me to this, like as a surprise, I would definitely feel it.
So you pointed out the water. So you're thinking about what you'll hear, the waves may be crashing. You're thinking about what you will see. And it sounds like you really like this setting because of the colors. And for you, maybe colors really enhance how you're feeling when you're in the atmosphere. And so like keeping those things, those mental notes for yourself, so you can share it with your husband, so you can share it with who you're dating, so that they can know too. Because sometimes we don't explore to find out what makes us feel romantic. And so this this activity is really to kind of get us to that place. Because sometimes you're like, I don't know, buy me roses, chocolate, right? But those are so, I like to use the word cliche, but that's what TV has shown us that we should like, and it should make us feel romance. But we got to recognize that we're individual. So yeah, I think just looking at that, like from what you said, like it's several things that your senses will be pulling on. All right, who wants to go next? Let's go. Let's go.
Mine would be a tie between 2 and 4.
So 2 and 4. All right, you got to pick one. Pick one. If you could be anywhere right now, would it be 2 or 4?
You have to come back to me then.
Okay. She got some time to think, and that's good. It's good. Reflect. Think about where would I really want to be, because it'll be helpful for you moving forward in your marriage too. All right, let's go popcorn style, you guys. Anyone?
I picked number 6. 4 and 2. I can't decide.
She's all difficult.
All right,
There's no 6.
No, number 4. I definitely just how Sandra was speaking, I was just like, yes. It just looks so it looks so peaceful. It looks very peaceful, very I feel like there's a breeze going, and it's just and it looks not secluded enough where you feel like I'm on the beach by myself, but I like the lighting and just the colors, and it just looks very vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
2 is nice too, but I think definitely number 4.
Okay, number 4. So
yeah.
If you were there thinking about senses, what senses do you think would be pulled on if you were there?
Definitely the sound of the water, sight. I love the scenery. I can see kind of like in the background, it looks like it's a bridge or something where you see lights. I love anything where you can see far away and you see lights. So, and then I love the candle lighting as well. And then it looks like there's some food on the table. So definitely some smells. Definitely some smells.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So yeah. So it just sounds like all your senses are being pulled on if you were there. And so that's what romance is. It's about your brain telling you you're being romanced because of the excitement that you feel. So the environment has a lot to do with romance. In most scenes, you see that there's candles, right? They have different things in common. They have the candles. They all have flowers. What else do we see that's in common? Some kind of lighting, right? All
Number one,
Number
1 has comfortable seating.
So if you're someone who's like, listen, I need to be comfortable when I'm being romanced, number 1's for you, right? Other people don't mind being a little uncomfortable, like seeing 2, that chair looks like it could be comfortable, but you're gonna be sitting exactly like this, right? So like some people just like, I just want to lounge. And for them, that triggers that I'm being romanced, I'm being loved, I'm being cared for right now. But we definitely see the lighting, whether it's candles or just the little lights that they have out. Every scene looks very like, almost like they dim the lights so the lighting can definitely have center stage. And that does something for us. All right, let's go. Fee, did you make up your mind? Janelle, you ready?
Yeah, I like number 2 because I love trees.
Nice.
I think trees represent life. When I got married, we got married in front of a tree. I think a lot of things that we need depend on tree, right? Trees, oxygen, and everything. So I think it's beautiful in that way. I love the way it's decorated, the lights. It looks more like a lakefront than an ocean front. Maybe I can't see that well. Is that a stool? What kind of stool is that? Stool is kind of cool. I don't. I just like the aesthetics of. I like the aesthetics of two. I'm not. When I look at romance, this is to me. This is more cliche romance. Because I'm not sure how accessible this type of romance is for everybody.
Yes, and that's okay to say that.
When you look at number two, but I think it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But that in terms of me, like my most romantic date wouldn't necessarily look like two.
Okay, so why don't you take a minute and describe what it would look like? These are just pictures I pulled from the internet, but again, it's all about what environment triggers your senses and makes you feel like you're being romanced. So give us a little touch or give us a little vision of what it might look like.
Well, me, I like experiences, right? I like to be intrigued by. I like to be intrigued, and I like experiences. Well, like for me, like a hiking. Like I said, I love trees, so like going for a nice hike and talking is romantic. I don't know. Anything outdoors, nature walks, kayaking, even like rock climbing. Something that is engaging, interactive, but that's who I am. So I guess you talk about being stimulating and exciting. Those are the types of things I like to do. Bike riding through the city. Excuse me. Those are the types of things I like to do. And I do think those also speak to your senses, like you said, like whether you're bike riding, the way it feels, the way the person makes you feel, the way it feels when you're on your bike, and you're going through the wind, riding through the wind, the different scenery that you see while you're riding your bike, or when you make it to the top of that mountain after climbing it, or snowshoeing. So that's my idea of romance.
So definitely sounds like experiences, activities is what makes you feel like you're being romanced.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely okay to say like you feel like some of these things are cliche because romance means what romance means to you.
Yes.
And that's what I'm trying to pull on. Like you have to know yourself and know how you're feeling when either you're going through experiences that are engaging or if you're at a certain restaurant or scenes, like you know how you feel and you can take mental note like this makes me feel romance. But it sounds like even after you've done an activity, lovely, like you probably would say, okay, it would be nice if Brandon set this up. So if y'all went kayaking and then he said, after kayaking, I'm going to take you out to eat, you're like, scene 2 would do it for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, so I want people to really be transparent. Don't feel like you're stuck to these scenes. If you feel like there's other things that would really trigger your senses. All right. Thank you, lovely, for sharing. All right, Fee, you have an answer now? She's like, I don't know.
I guess I would go with number 4.
That didn't sound confident, but let's go to number 4.
Because there's still a tie. That's why.
Okay. So you're a tie. I'm not going to make you force. So you're a tie between 2 and 4.
Right.
Okay, 2 and 4. All right. Tell us why.
Well, number 4, I like the colors. I like the scenery. I love the sand and the view of the water. I know sitting there, you would hear the waves. You would hear the wind blowing through the trees. Like Manu said, you got the lighting way in the back over there that you can see. Going for a minute to walk in the sand, that would be nice. So, and then on the table, you got the red petals. So that kind of triggers me with the red petals and then the lighted candles. And then if you go to number 2, I like number 2 because the lighting, to me, that's really romantic. The lighting on the trees and on the boardwalk. I think that's really nice. And to me, I guess I would kind of like the boardwalk because what if you want to have a dance or something? You got a little dance floor over there. You can, be in your loved one's arm for a little bit and not have to be in the sand. So I kind of like both of them. But if I had to really pick, I guess I would do number 4 first, only because of the colors. That brightness makes it seem just a little bit more romantic than number 2. Okay,
awesome. So senses being pulled on, right? So if I had to pick a scene, it would definitely be number 2. And my reason would be the lighting. Like it looks very romantic to me. And then it's just like, I'm thinking about like probably smelling the water, right? Because when you're around water, you actually have that smell of water. The smell of water always calms me. And then I can definitely be romance because I'm calm. And I think that when you have anxiety or you have a lot going on or stresses, like even if someone creates this great scenery, if you're a little on edge, you can't be romance. So I think the first thing for me is to know like, okay, this is a place where I can be calm. So if I can be calm first, then I can be romance. But also just looking at, it has water. I love water. I love hearing water. And then there's something unique about how they put lighting on the trees that separates this scene from the other scenes. And I think that's what really like pulls me to this. But I also want to point out that Lovely said something about the trees. When they got married, they had trees. You said something like that. Am I saying it right? You said when y'all got married, y'all had trees around.
Yeah, we got married. We were married in front of a tree. Mm-hmm.
Got married in front of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing I want to point out is sometimes the scenery is connected to experiences you've already had with your mate. So for Janelle, she picked 2, although she's all into experiences, she picked 2 because the first thing she thought about was like, oh, we got married, we got, there was plenty of trees there. And I remember like it was outside, it was very like nature-like, it was beautiful. So I could see how that memory can pull you towards what's romantic to you because it brings back good memories that then makes you feel romance. And so it's just all about who you are, what you like, what you don't like, to move forward in the state of like just making sure that you're being romanced. And sometimes I think that women don't take the time to find out what they like. I think we kind of just accept what the world has said, like flowers and chocolate and hold my hand when we're going for a walk. But maybe that's not your thing. Maybe it's something else. That's why I like how Lovely said experiences. Some people may just focus on the things that they're told they should like instead of trying to figure out what they like. And I think that's important. So that was the purpose of the activity, just kind of really thinking about your senses. But I always like to open it up and we just like have a conversation about romance. And so I'm just gonna open it up. Like, let's talk about romance. Anybody else got something they wanna say? Like they feel like those who are watching, like this is a hands down need to know nugget about romance.
Well, I'm just thinking about what you're saying. And I remember like, when I told my friend, one of my good friends, that I was getting married, she said, do you like him? And I'm like, yeah, I fucking love my husband. She said, no, do you like him? So I think a lot of times when you think of like, for me, I use that analogy because like, when you think of romance, it's like, to me, it's about the things it's about caring for that person and showing that you care. And sometimes you can love someone, but you don't necessarily like them or want to show that you care for them. So like I just think of it is sometimes it's just simple as caring. Like for the other day I was feeling really sad and my husband he didn't say anything. He just took his hand and he put his hand on top of my hand. Or like when we're watching movies, like he'll massage my arm, I'm massaging his hand. Stuff like that to me I think really is romantic, and I think it really makes that connection happen. Because it's it's the little things. And sometimes you can't do big things all the time, but it's the little things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And even then, Lovely, you touched on senses. So it sounds like touch for you is really makes you feel connected, right?
Yeah,
so
touch my hand, yeah.
So you're still speaking on senses. It's just different kinds of ways of getting that enhanced feeling that I'm being romanced. So yeah, awesome.
And that he cares for me, showing that he cares.
Mm-hmm. So the feeling of someone caring for you, even if it's small, a quick text, like those little things make you have a feeling. And we know that, right? Like if you get a text from someone that you're dating or someone you're married to and you're just like, they just say like, oh, I was just thinking about you, I just love you so much. Like there's a feeling you get from that text.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. And
And
I think
so,
sometimes a lot of guys, I'm sorry, Melissa, I don't want to cut
no,
you off.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I think sometimes a lot of guys feel like are intimidated by the idea of romance because they think it's like, it has to be something big. You have to spend money. It has to be this big gesture, like the images you showed. But it's like the little, like you said, the little things. You can still be romantic and do the little things. Send a text, write a letter.
Oh, we can't hear you now.
That thing. So.
Anyone else would like to share?
Well, I guess for me, romance consists of like little love notes, because my husband sends me little love notes early in the morning and throughout the day, just letting me know he's thinking of me, which I think is sweet. And then I think for me also, like, flowers. Don't have to be a dozen flowers. It can be just one rose. That's a good little gesture. And then I bought this little cup of chocolate dipped strawberries. So something little like this would be something sweet for me. Nothing expensive. That was only $10. So, you know, little things I think is what make you feel special.
And I like that you said it was only $10, right? Because sometimes we think we have to spend a lot of money or have a like big, amazing scene. And sometimes it's just like the little things, but you also still pulled on senses, how it makes you feel, right? So I think that if we kind of take a mental note of those feelings that we get when we get a text or when we get a phone call or when we have one single rose on the bed or those little things, like, then we can really understand where we are when it comes to what we like.
I think for me, one thing I realize that I love about when someone notices things. So for example, even if, say, we weren't able to go to a beach or something, them just being intentional and like maybe making sounds with the getting like a what's it called, the even like putting sounds on YouTube and playing it while we're having dinner. Or I like when someone says, oh yeah, I know you like the sound of the rain. Like I love rain. I love the sounds of the water. So when someone recognizes that, and I think that has to do with connection, like when you do have a connection with someone, even if they can't do those things or take you to those places, just even making mention of different things like that, it helps you to, you know, recognize like, oh my gosh, that's so romantic. Like you remember, you know, like just something that it just makes you feel good when someone recognizes or, you know, acknowledges, you know, things that you like. So
Yeah. Being purposeful and thoughtful.
Yeah.
I can see that. I definitely can see that. So Sandra, I don't want to overlook you. Did you want to add?
So mine is really, I don't see my husband as a very romantic person at all. So I look at, I try to get memories in my mind that make me appreciate him. And there have been like these, I call them like tests that God has put me through. And so many times my husband just came to my rescue.
When everyone's kind of saying the same thing, like you're calm, if you feel protected, you feel safe, they're being purposeful, those things open you up to being romance, whatever romance looks like to you. And so that's important to keep in mind. And it makes sense, right? If you have someone who's beating you up, it doesn't matter. Those 4 scenes were beautiful. It doesn't matter where he took you. You be sitting there like, I don't know why he's doing this. He gonna smack me tomorrow and then say sorry again and then bring me to another place, or, you know, run me some bath water and say like, I'm sorry, babe. So it is about how you're being treated. And if you're being treated the right way, the walls come down so you can be romanced.
That's right.
And that is so important to remember, because I think when we think about romance, again, we think of the things that the world has told us to think about. But everyone has given an example of how they've been romanced, and it had nothing to do with the scenes that I showed. But the purpose of the scenes was to point out senses. And even though you all selected some, the experiences, the real experiences that you've had are pointing out how you felt. And we said that romance is a feeling of excitement associated with love. Mm-hmm. So it can look different for many different people. And I think that's awesome. So of course, this is the first episode. So we always go surface, and then we dig a little deeper, and then we have like serious activities where you're like, what? You want me to apply what we talking about? So we're not doing no applying today. We're not doing anything heavy duty today. We just want to talk about romance. And I do believe it is a hot topic and an important topic. That everyone needs to talk about, because sometimes you just assume and he assumes, everyone assumes they know they're being romantic, or they think they're being romantic, and you kind of have to tell them. And so just quickly, like a good example is this one woman, I was talking to her, and she was like, I really hate roses. And I was like, what? You hate roses? She's like, they die. They always die. So for her, like, no, don't give her no roses. She doesn't like them. And then another woman I was talking to, she said that she likes roses, but she doesn't like the red ones. She likes the yellow ones. So sometimes it's color, it's preference. And so just identifying those small things, I think will be helpful. So anyone else want to share? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, like Sandra was saying, I don't feel like my husband is real romantic either, so I got to get him to that point. So, like, for me, scene number 4, I would want that, but my husband wouldn't think to do that. So, I would want something like that, but he wouldn't think to plan something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, ladies, I'm sorry to break it to you, sometimes we have to do the planning. I don't really feel like most men plan the scenes that we've seen, or some of the things we're mentioning. I think that sometimes we have to either give them a cheat sheet, or we have to plan. Because sometimes they just don't know. I really believe they just don't know. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna end. I want us to quickly, first of all, did everybody have a mug? Did everybody bring their mugs today? She has a mug. Everybody didn't bring their mugs? So you have a toast?
I had my mug today, sorry.
Okay, so we'll skip the whole toast. We'll skip the toast, all right?
Can you toast for us, Melissa?
I can toast with my mug.
Okay.
All right, so to us, in learning and growing and applying romance from this day and forevermore, like it's a continual growth. So to us and romance.
To us and romance.
Us and romance.
The romance, I'd like that.
Us and romance.
Us and romance. So we will have another episode. But thank you everyone for joining. You were awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
For having us.
Nothing.
It was really good.
Without more input, right? Like the more you have, the merrier. But can someone give one takeaway? Everybody doesn't have to talk, but somebody give one takeaway that they got from today that they didn't think about.
That romance is different for each person on different levels. It's not the same for everybody.
Well said. Awesome. Yeah. And that's what we're going to explore. What is romance to you? Because it may be different for you to me, right? So listen, thank you so much for joining. And as always, I gotta end it with this. I got to.
That's it. That's the
win.
Like,
that's the win. Go get
that.
So I'll make sure to put the information in there. Go get the book, y'all. All right. So I just appreciate everybody for coming today. Like, this was awesome. It was great.
Thanks for having us.
So,
thank you for having us. Thank you.
And so we will continue, ladies. All right. So next time we come, there'll probably be some kind of activity you have to apply. Okay. You know, it gets harder as we move forward, but that's okay, right? We're up for the challenge.
Bye. See you later.